1. Burtalo Bills. Have you ever wondered what it feels like to get this close to your ultimate goal, 4 years in a row, only to fail every single time? If not, let me introduce you to the story of the Buffalo Bills. The most infamous chapter of the Bills' bad luck was written in the early 1990s. Imagine your team making it to not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 consecutive Super Bowls. From Super Bowl 25 to Super Bowl 28, the Bills reached the championship game every year, but couldn't secure a single victory. This is a heartbreaking NFL record that no other team wants to break. These losses forged the Bills Mafia, their fan base, into one of the most resilient and patient fan groups in all of sports. Following that era, the team entered the Great Playoff Drought, which lasted from 2000 to 2016. For 17 long years, the Bills failed to make the playoffs. It was a long and painful wait for their dedicated fans. Yes, their fortunes have turned recently, with Josh Allen leading the charge, but their painful history undoubtedly makes them one of the most unlucky teams in NFL history. 2. Carolina Panthers. Have you ever had the best year of your life, only for it to end in complete and utter disappointment? If you want to know what that feels like in football form, look no further than the Carolina Panthers. The Panthers' story is one of dramatic highs followed by crushing lows. Their most painful memory is Super Bowl 50. In 2015, with their electrifying quarterback Cam Newton leading the charge, they were a force of nature. They steamrolled through the regular season with an incredible 15-1 record. They looked invincible, a team of destiny. But when the final whistle blew at the Super Bowl, they had lost to the Denver Broncos. To have a near-perfect season end like that is a special kind of sports heartbreak. And that's the thing with the Panthers. They've reached the Super Bowl twice in their history, and they've come home empty-handed both times. Unlike teams that are just consistently bad, the Panthers give their fans a taste of glory. They show them the top of the mountain, and then pull the rug out from under them. It's a roller coaster of hope and disappointment that has left their fans dizzy for years. 3. Chicago Bears. What if you were famous for being one of the most fearsome teams in history, but that history was from 40 years ago? Welcome to the paradox of the Chicago Bears, a team haunted by its own legendary past. The Bears' identity is built on the 1985 Super Bowl champions, the Monsters of the Midway. That team had one of the most dominant defenses ever, and a swagger that defined a generation of football. The problem? They've been trying to relive that single glorious moment ever since. Their real struggle, their true worst quality, has been on the other side of the ball. For decades, the quarterback position in Chicago has been a black hole. They are famous for defense and running backs, but in the modern pass-happy NFL, they've completely failed to find a franchise QB. They've tried everything. High draft picks, expensive free agents, but nothing sticks. It's like the city is cursed when it comes to offense. So while the Bears have a proud history, their modern story is one of offensive frustration, forever living in the shadow of a team that played decades ago. 4. Green Bay Packers. How would you feel if you were given 2 winning lottery tickets in a row, but could only manage to cash them in for a fraction of their worth? That is the modern story of the Green Bay Packers. Now, calling the Packers one of the worst sounds crazy, right? They have a ton of history and a packed trophy case. But their failure is a special kind of frustrating. For 30 straight years, from the 90s into the 2020s, they had 2 of the most gifted quarterbacks to ever play the game, back-to-back. Brett Favre and then Aaron Rodgers. With that much Hall of Fame talent for 3 decades, you'd expect a dynasty. But what did they get? Only 1 Super Bowl win for each quarterback. Year after year, they would dominate the regular season, get their fans dreaming of another championship, only to lose in the playoffs, often in the NFC Championship game right before the Super Bowl. It's not a story of being bad, it's a story of not being great enough. They wasted an unbelievable amount of talent, making them one of the biggest underachievers in recent NFL history. 5. Houston Texans. What if you finally found the key to success, the one piece you were missing, and then you just threw it all away? If you want to understand self-sabotage, let's talk about the Houston Texans. For years, the Texans were just there. They weren't historically bad, but they were never truly a threat, even with a superstar like Andre Johnson. Then, they drafted quarterback Deshaun Watson, and everything changed. They finally had a dynamic, elite leader. The future looked incredibly bright. But then, the organization imploded. In one of the most baffling moves in recent memory, they traded away their other superstar, receiver DeAndre Hopkins, for practically nothing. It was the first sign of a complete front office meltdown. This was followed by a series of questionable decisions and off-field drama that led to the team completely falling apart. They went from a rising Super Bowl contender to the bottom of the league almost overnight. The Texans aren't haunted by ancient history. Their worst team status was earned through a spectacular, self-inflicted collapse in the modern era, showing everyone how quickly mismanagement can burn a franchise to the ground. 6. Indianapolis Colts. Imagine being gifted not one but two once-in-a-generation superstar quarterbacks, only to fail them both. This is the uniquely painful story of the Indianapolis Colts. First, they had Peyton Manning. For over a decade, he was one of the greatest quarterbacks to ever play, leading one of the most explosive offenses in NFL history. They dominated the regular season year after year. But what did they have to show for all that brilliance? Only one Super Bowl ring. The organization consistently failed to build a strong enough defense around him to win when it mattered most. Then, history repeated itself in the most tragic way. The moment Manning left, they drafted Andrew Luck, another can't-miss prospect who was tough, smart, and incredibly talented. But once again, the team failed to protect him. They put him behind a terrible offensive line, and he took a brutal beating year after year. The constant hits took their toll, and Luck shocked the world by retiring in his prime, physically and mentally worn down. The Colts aren't a story of bad luck. They are a story of organizational failure, wasting two of the greatest talents the league has ever seen.